Good morning, everyone. My name is Noreen. I'm the Head of Investor Relations for True Corporation. Thank you for joining us to this special meeting today. We have with us the Chairman of the Board of Directors and the Chairman and CEO of Arise Ventures Group, Khun Supachai. Group CEO of True Corporation and Executive Chair of Tech Telco and Digital Business of Arise Ventures Group, Khun Sigve. CFO and Chief Investment Officer of Arise Ventures Group, Khun Methi. And Co-CFO of True Corporation, Khun Nakul. I would also like to welcome the analysts who have joined us in the room today. Thank you so much. There are many of you who are also online. For Q&A, we will first take questions from the room before we move on to the questions online. To ask questions, please raise your hand. We will address you accordingly. I would now like to hand over to the Group CEO of True Corporation, Khun Sigve.
Yeah, Sawadee Krap, and good morning to all of you joining us in the room, but also to everyone that has joined us online. I think the story about the transaction last week is well known, so we do not prepare to go into any introduction or any explanation of that. But we are very happy to answer questions. And of course, Khun Supachai will answer questions on behalf of Arise, but he will also answer questions on behalf of being a chairman of the True Corporation board. And I will try to answer questions which relate to the True operation and also the guidance on going forward. So with that, I think we can open up for a Q&A. If some of you are more comfortable with asking questions in Thai to Khun Supachai, please do so. If not, we will conduct this in English. Thank you. And Khun Noreen will handle the Q&A, such that just raise your hand to her.
Yes, so we can start taking questions. I saw Khun Wasu first, so okay. You two decide.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the meeting today. So I have around 4 questions for Khun Supachai and 3 questions for Khun Sigve and 1 question for any of you that is comfortable answering. So the first question for Khun Supachai would be, what will be the differences between Arise Ventures Group and digital businesses under the CP Group?
Arise Venture will focus on the telecom business, the cloud data center business, and the fintech business. That's are the 3 areas.
Okay. So does that mean that, like, for example, True IDC, Ascent Money have been migrated from CP Group to Arise?
For the True IDCs and also the fintech, they are equal partnership.
Okay.
With CP Group.
Okay.
But since I founded the 2 company, you could say that it will be led by Arise.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And the second question is about the dividend payout ratio. Is it reasonable to assume that the dividend payout could be higher than the current policy of 50%? And that's because Arise can use the cash from the dividend income to invest in new growth opportunities like fintech, digital business, and also to repay the debt that you might have used to purchase True shares. Is that a reasonable assumption, the higher dividend?
It is. It
Okay.
is a reasonable assumption.
Okay.
We will look to optimize the dividend.
Okay.
But at the level that would not constrain the business, too much. But certainly, yes, I think Arise would demand, just like any other shareholders, as an investor,
Okay.
to see as much dividend possible.
Okay.
I would say that, let's say, the other 2 group of business, even though they need capital from Arise, but they themselves also working towards IPO. So in that case, it will be not depend totally on the dividend from True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me also chip in on that question, because the current dividend policy of True, it's at least 50%. We never said that it should be exactly 50%, and that's why we exceeded that in the dividend payout we had in the third quarter. We have also said from True side that you should expect progressive dividend going forward, which basically means that we pay a little bit more dividend for every year that goes. But on top of that, we have also given a clear guidance on the gearing, so that we should also be able to continue to pay down the debt. And we have given you a target on that going, and the gearing was after amalgamation, that was
5.7.
and now it's down to around 4, and the plan is to take it down to 3.2. So nothing changed in the financial policy in that sense.
Oh, could you please remind me the 3.2 net debt to EBITDA? When is that target?
27.
Okay, thank you. And the next question, still for Khun Supachai as well. Like in your mind, since you like obviously favor rising dividend, would you consider an asset sale to DIF, like on True's behalf, so that you get a lot of cash in and pay special dividend? That way you can pay the debt that you use to purchase True shares faster.
I take that as a recommendation than the questions. But certainly there are no, not yet, that policies yet. But because I think you can look at the DIF as the way to raise capital, but at the same time, you know that it will also a burden, you know, financially to the True Corporation. So I think the management will have to look at that thoroughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last question
Can I also add one more on that?
Please, thank you.
As you know, we have refinanced, or we are refinancing the True debt quite regularly. And I'm pleased to see that we are able to do that on a quite low interest rate. And most of the debt now is fixed on a low interest rate. So we have to take that also into account when it comes to suggestions like this.
Yeah. My final question for Khun Supachai is that would you consider combining all telecom and digital businesses under True, like similar to the structure of like the CPO and CPX being the retail arm of CP Group? Would you do that similar structuring for True going forward?
I only if it's really create values, because I think the digital business, you mean to IDC, right?
Yes.
And the asset money.
Yes.
Both of them have also different stakeholders. And, you know, they also have been in the past 10 years raising their own capitals.
Right.
So at the moment, I see no need to do such a merger or combine. I think it can go separately because to IDC especially, it will require a lot of capital.
Okay.
And it should not be a burden to the telecom business.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kap. And my next question is for Khun Sikve. So what will be your roles in CP Group and Arise going forward?
Well, first of all, my role will be to continue as the Group CEO of True.
Yes.
And I've got some questions about that as well, and I will continue with that. And as you know, I came here around 9 months ago as a CP-nominated CEO for True. And now I will continue as the Arise-nominated CEO of True. So I'm going to continue with that. In addition, Khun Supachai have also asked me to be helping on the Arise side. So I will be the executive chairman of the digital and the telco business in Arise. So that is the plan going forward.
Because when you first came to Thailand last year, the news was that you were appointed as a executive chairman of telecom and digital business under the CP Group.
Yep.
So that's no longer valid. Now you are under Arise.
Yeah, because the telco and digital business of CP is now in Arise. So that's the reason why I will follow up that on the Arise level.
Understood. Thank you. And the second question is about what are the key milestones that you want to achieve for True and Arise before you like one day decide to retire? What do you want to see before you retire?
Well, we are talking about many, many years then, my friend. No, I think when Consumer asked me to come here around 9-10 months ago, I did so because I see a big opportunity for the overall the digital ecosystem and telco system and tech system here in Thailand. I think Thailand is very well placed in Southeast Asia for actually taking a leading role. And True is an important part of that. And going forward, not only True is turning to profitability and paying dividend, I also see that we have a good opportunity now in True to grow the market together with our competitors, but also to take into use new technology, make the operation more efficient with AI, and so on and so forth. And also look into what I call beyond connectivity services on top of the data connectivity. So that's the plan for True. When it comes to the help that Consumer have asked me in the right side, is then now Arise is a group that actually have a quite complete number of assets in the digital ecosystem. It's telecom, it's the digital money, also with True Money now getting the virtual license. It's data center, and there could be some more. As you also know, in this ecosystem, we have several startups and to take a position on the digital services. So my role is to help on that. And Arise should be the leading operator or the leading company doing that in Thailand, but also help how Thailand can position ourselves in the Southeast Asian framework. That's my role, and that's my ambition.
Okay.
May I just jump in a little bit? Even though in terms of the financial discipline, they are separate identities between the digital businesses and True. But my role and Consequent roles at the Arise would look to try to see the synergy between the businesses, be it data center, be it True Money versus the telcos, to create competitiveness, to differentiate, I think, the businesses. So these synergistic values we will look to capitalize on for these three businesses. They should complement each other.
Yes.
And just to comment on Consumer's comment, because often I hear that synergy is a negative loaded word, meaning that you move value from one asset to another one. What we are talking about is not that. We are talking about 1 + 1 being more than 2, to see how this separately run company can work together to actually benefit with taking a position in this ecosystem.
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to do.
Toward the customer. I think that will be the case.
Okay. And my last question for Khun Sikwe, sorry for talking about retirement again, but do you have a successor in mind? And how will True maintain a high standard of management once you're not here anymore?
Yeah. No, of course, I'm not going to be here forever. And I'm constantly training people in the company to both be successors for the different management positions we have in True, but also to be my successor. And there is nothing with this deal that is going to cause a change in management. I plan to keep the same management as I have. But however, there are changes in management. I've done several changes already since I came. And I will do changes in the future also, but not because of this transaction that was announced. So my plan is now to continue to have a stable management, continue to grow those as managers, but also to have a solid succession plan in place.
Okay. Okay.
I add to how Khun Sikwe decided to join us. When I asked Khun Sikwe whether he's interested to take the CEO roles, and Khun Sikwe said, after the Telenor group, the next step for him is in Europe countries is chairman, vice chairman, or director of the board. That's, many companies have been approaching him. But he said, no, I don't want to be a chairman. I want to run the day-to-day business. So I think Khun Sikwe wills and his styles is not to be passive. He wants to get involved and I don't think he plans to retire anytime soon. I say that his health is actually better than mine. So I expected to see him actually really work in the interest of the company, in the interest of Thailand. I think we are very fortunate to have Kun Sikwe with us, and I think he would create a lot of values to all stakeholders, including Thailand.
Just one more comment on that, because you also had another question. So I think when we decided to merge True and DTAC, we set up a governance structure that is the best of what you can find in a global benchmark. And Khun Supachai and myself, when we discussed that deal, this was a very important thing to do, because we want True to have a very professional governance structure, which also includes then benefiting all the shareholders, including the minority shareholders. And this governance structure, when it comes to everything from compliance to efficient way of running the management, is now in place and is something we are going to continue to run going forward also. That's also this guy. He will stay in place. So don't expect us to do a lot of changes, because there has been a change of shareholding on the top.
In fact, Arise, one of the Arise policies is to align the management commitment with the shareholders. So, as soon as we reinstate at the board level, we will try to introduce the stock options to the core management teams. So that will be our very first thing, one of the very first thing to do.
So thank you very much for your detailed answers and for your time. This is my very last question for the four of you. So this is coming from a lot of investors that I've talked to over the past few days. Is it possible that in the future, True will provide financial support to another company under Arise Ventures or under CP Group?
Not true.
Not true.
Not true. I think that have never crossed my mind, or it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a good practice. I think certainly there are some issue in the past, like buyout Tesco, but it's all about industrial alignment. Is retail business, so a telco business should not cross into other industry. It should focus, to evolve itself and transform itself, maybe towards, OTTs, application based, to get to know more about customer, more data driven, but not to go into agro, real estate or retail business. That have never been the practice. Even in the past, before the Telenor group we have not yet been partners. That have never been the case at all. It would not be the case going forward.
And let me also answer that question, because I kind of answered it already. When I said that the synergies we are talking about is not to move assets from one asset to another. It's actually to create additional synergies on top of that, which benefits all the different companies that you have in that ecosystem. So that's the target. Secondly, when I talk about proper governance in a listed companies, is to avoid exactly what you are asking about. So we will be very focused on proper related party transactions and doing this for the benefit of all the shareholders, including the minority shareholders.
Thank you, Khun Wasu. I would like to ask Khun Pisut next.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. Pisut from Kasikorn Securities. May I have a few questions. The first one regarding the detail of the deal. My question is about the call put options that you have with Telenor. It would be great if you can share with us about the features, whether it's going to be American or European type of the options, and the exercise period. It can be exercised during the 2 years that you mentioned, and also the exercise price, if you can. Thank you.
A lot of conditions we cannot disclose at this point, because we're not closing the transaction yet. But maybe
if I may add on this one. So because Telenor is a listed company, so we don't want to disclose anything more than they have disclosed, right? But just to try to be more specific, it would be a European call put type of option. So it will be exercisable 2 years from closing. Thank you.
Thank you. Regarding to the deal as well, the SPA, the sale purchase agreement, my question is about, in the worst case scenario, for example, if two share price come down to, let's say, 8 baht, you have the exit clause to, getting away from this SPA agreement. Can you please tell us a bit more?
I don't think.
Well, I would say that we are committed to this deal, and in order for us to, again, Telenor being a listed company, so unless there high degree of confidence that we have the ability to finish this transaction, that there wouldn't have been a signing in the first place.
Thank you. My third question is about similar to Khun Wasu, but a bit tweak a little bit, that the long-term strategic visions of the Arise, and and the role of True within that, because when you mentioned about the Alliance and True, sometimes it mixed up together, and the interests may not totally align, and also the interest, the stakeholders are not the same as well between the Arise and the True. The question is about how can you manage the interest between Arise, CP Group, and True minority shareholders to be, like Khun Sigway mentioned, under the code of the governance.
Again, the Arise is founded by myself, and the interest is to invest it in True Corp. True Corp actually come with a significant ecosystem, and that is the access to the people. Arise Group mission and vision is the same, is to create the accessibilities. But going forward is the accessibility is to computing technology, accessibilities to AI. So this is the visions of Arise, which is totally in alignment with True. Now, a big part of the investment to realize these visions already being taken care of by the data center business. It will not burden True Corp. In fact, it should synergize, and we will see the whole cost structure of data center, which is the foundations of cloud and AI, and most capital intensive. And the JOIDC have its own shareholders, group of shareholders, not only CP Group but also GIP BlackRock, and they hold 40%. I think, and looking at the asset money, they also have their partners, the combine of Ant Financial and MUFG, Mitsubishi Bank, also 40%. So both have really a significant out of the group shareholders, and they have also their own governance. And in fact, they you would see that actually there's a lot of ring fencing, to the point that not so easy to create even the synergy between the BUs. Okay, but since the nature is very complementary, we definitely can look to see how best to help True Corp differentiate. I think that's sort of you can see that there are different players, different stakeholders, and I'm not talking about the financial institutions yet that have been supportive of Arise Group. So I think we cannot do anything which is, without the strong governance. That's what we have to do. Now, if you look at the role between CP Group and then Arise, I say at the end it's all come back to people, right? I used to be group CEOs. Group CEOs of CP Group and group CEOs of Arise Group wear totally different hats. One is to expand the visions of CP Group, but the other one is to expand the vision of Arise Group. And Arise Group will be much more focused in the area of the digital economy, digital transformations. So I think, now I wake up every day and think how to make TrueCorp values increase double or triple if I can, and how to, make sure that TrueCorp pay dividends. So it's a very totally different agenda, and I put a lot of investment into Arise and into True Group. So you can see that total commitment towards Arise and to see it become successful, and including one of the biggest portfolio like True Group.
My last three questions. Post transactions, how do you intend to balance? I'm talking about the balance, the capital allocations among the reinvestment that you need to do. I mean, on True, I'm talking about True. Even though the 5G capex cycle has done, but you mentioned about the AI, the whatsoever things, the tech businesses, and also the deleveraging at the same time, also the dividends. Based on my numbers, it's True is going to have the very strong operating cash flow in the near future, at least until the 6G technology is coming, right, in 2030 or 31. And you have to trade off between the short-term share price performance. If you pay too much dividend, it may be good for the short term, but you may lose the competitive advantage or competitiveness against your competitors, right? And how can you balance these all things together for the short term and medium term?
Thank you for the question. First of all, it's quite fortunate that, even today, most of the use of the technology is still on 4G. 5G is like an incremental part of the 4G. I have to say that even for 5G investment, we have not yet fully utilized the 5G investment yet. And also another good thing is that for 6G is not going to, similar to 5G to 4G, you wouldn't really, as a users, experience much of the difference. And you will soon see a 5G plus before the 6G. And mainly for the 6G, as we have studied, it's just that you're going to maybe add somewhat more speed, maybe 6 or 7 times speed. But the key for the 6G is the standards on the satellites connections on the handsets. So you have 2 antennas on the handset. But it will start off being quite expensive. So that kind of evolutions, I don't see really a big leap. For us, we are seeing from 2G to 3G, and then we see a really significant leap in 4G. But I don't think we'll see a significant leap in 6G apart from the seamless connection between the cellular network and the satellite network. I think that wouldn't be too much of the threat in terms of capital expenditure. But definitely we will continue to have to make sure that we put more and more micro cells and fill in the black spots and all that. But I don't think we'll see 6G is an evolution of the network more than an evolution of the handset. Okay. Certainly, in terms of true cooperation going forward, when you talk about cloud or AI, the biggest part investment of cloud and AI is data center and GPU. And that would be more or less done by the True IDC. So TrueCorp should focus on more on the collaboration with the, AI providers in the large scale. Most of them are hyperscalers, but they could also focus on the sovereign AI. But in order for TrueCorp to offer a sovereign AI, it's mostly depends on the open source. And we have to look at the best way to offer a lower cost AI to the local, and it wouldn't be the effort by TrueCorp. Actually, it would be an effort of we have another vehicles called the Arise AI. So that will be focusing on the sovereign AI, the AI for, in this case, you could call for national security and all that. But at the end of the day, Thailand deserves its own AI as well, to balance with the hyperscalers. So I think it would not be something very drastic. It will continue to be research and development, trial and error. There are no guarantee of success, but that will be one of the Arise focus. And working with the True Corporation. True Corporation should focus on capitalizing on their access to the mass and data. They should continue to capitalize on that. And AI will be one of the way to capitalize on TrueCorp data. So the revenue sharing models, with the other players, and how we be able to introduce a different kind of not only AI but other application and OTTs, including digital medias. That kind of models would help not only differentiate but help True Corporation grow with the as an infrastructure play, grow with the rest of the digital economy transformation.
Let me also add a couple of comments to that question, because I have seen some of the analyst reports being concerned about the financial discipline and the direction of True changing because of this deal. I think that is misunderstood, and let me explain why. I was CEO in Telenor before the amalgamation was announced 3 years ago. And it was the two of us that negotiated that deal. We spent quite some time before we announced that merger to align on what should be the future of True, the combined entity. And we spent quite some time on also agreeing to the financial discipline and the financial guidance for this company. And that's exactly what you have seen over the last 3 years, with Khun Supachai as the chairman of the board. So that has been supported by Telenor, it has been supported by CP, and it has been supported by him. And that's exactly what is going to be in tomorrow also, or in the future. Khun Supachai is continuing to be the chairman of our board, and that policy is not going to change. And that is why I don't think you should change your cash flow projection in your spreadsheets because of this deal. And just to repeat what I said, we have been very clear on a progressive dividend. We have been very clear on taking the gearing down to 3.2 in 2027. And we have also been clear on the capex guidance. We are saying 13 to 14%. Those targets will stay the same with this new transaction as they did in the past.
Yeah, I think to add on that, the TrueCorp stage have changed, from time to time. And after the amalgamation, it's also changed to a different stage. the competition in the market is not as high. Going forward, the competition will be more on the innovations, on the experience of the customer, on the IP, for example. So the competition also changed. You should not expect that TrueCorp to go back into a huge investment mode and try to lay out the new infrastructure. I think that's not the case. TrueCorp should maintain itself and to capitalize on the data it have. Right now, it's just not yet there. But with AI technology and all that, we should be able to do that much better than before. Because then you might see that if the transformation of TrueCorp will be more toward becoming like a digital media, because it's so connected to the people. I think that will be the case. As I mentioned, a big investment or anything to pull out TrueCorp resources, I don't see. I try to create synergy, and I will protect that as well, because it is also in Arise interest to see that TrueCorp still perform and really give return to shareholders. And never that we would look to compromise and constrain the business to compromise it with the other business. So I think that's not in the interest of TrueCorp. And when you say, let's say the ability to pay debt and all that, the key is EBITDA. So if you look at the third quarter, the AIS and TrueCorp, the EBITDA is still 3.5 billion difference per quarter. So if we can continue to improve EBITDA, our debt to EBITDA ratio will change. And if we can come back and grow the top line, which we have been more or less flat, but AIS still growing, that would also add to the cash flow of the company. That's what we will look to focus upon: a sustainable growth, growing with the economy, but not a stagnant or staying in the not too competitive in terms of giving high quality service, high quality network, high quality experience. So those we have to maintain. So in terms of the financial discipline, I think I always ask the team, even in the past 3 years, every day, every time we have the board meetings, how are we doing compared to AIS? How are we doing compared to AIS? What is our cost by category compared to AIS? When can we match AIS EBITDA? So you can imagine that this is happen every board, I think every day in the ExCom. So to do anything which is very different from what AIS is doing, I think we don't want to do that. I think we have a benchmark that we want to work against, and that's very clear. And we have that opportunity. We wasn't have that before, as a much smaller operator. Now we have the scales, and we have put huge efforts into network consolidations, system consolidations, outlet consolidations, people as well, headcount, all kind of redundancy between two companies. And those financial disciplines is still there. And I have to say that we are now, with those very clear cost reductions, I think we are merely about 70%. We still have a 30%, but more difficult to tackle in terms of our cost structure.
Yeah, my last question. Not sure whether you guys think about how to avoid or prevent another big blow in your share price. For example, in the next couple of weeks, some management may send a resignation letter to you guys, which is a key person that gain trust from the investment community, for example. And also, year after this, you may have the new investment into, with your other company in a Bryce Group or acquire another company. Yeah, that is my concern, that could create another big blow into the share price of True corporations. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can start on that one. Of course, we are not going to do anything short term here or any panic. We are going to continue to do exactly what we have done over the last few months. So we are going to continue to drive down costs, as Khun Supachai said. Most of the heavy lifting is already taken out that we did in the synergy projects. Now we are moving into transformation of the company, utilizing new technology. We are continuing to get the network is now in a good shape. We are continuing to look at all the cost element, and we are returning to growth. So that is what we're going to do. The management team will stay in place. There is no changing. There is no resignations. There is nobody being pushed out. The ship is going to run tomorrow exactly as it did before the announcement of this. So that's what you should expect. And I think when it comes to market communication, we are trying to be as clear and as transparent as possible. And I think that consistency is the most important thing here. Not to jump and shout and say something one day and say something else another day. That's why it's so important for me to underline the financial policy. That is what we have said. That is what we are going to do. When we are announcing our Q4 in some few weeks, you are going to hear us also giving some more clear guidance on how 2026 is going to look like. Exactly as we would have done with or without this transaction. So that is what we are going to focus on.
I say the biggest acquisition have been done 3 years ago. You can call it acquisition, merger, amalgamation. And look how far we have come in terms of creating shareholders' values from that point. That is, I don't know what to say. It's so precious to maintain that. Just want to make sure that, whether it's Telenor, CP Group, or Rise Group, are in alignment.
Thank you, Khun Pisut. We would like to move on to Khun Kittisorn from Innovastex.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I have 4 questions to Khun Supachai. My first question is about the background of the deal. Can you help, explaining the background of the deal? What is the starting point? Because what I remember last year, Telenor mentioned that they plan to hold True shares for longer than this. So just want to understand the background of the deal. That's my first question.
I think it's probably in the open that Telenor Group mentioned quite a few times that they would prefer to focus in the Nordic countries. And that certainly indicates that they might not have long-term commitment in Asia in general. I think that's probably in the market. I don't know. I cannot speak on behalf of Telenor. But, and our shareholders' agreement more or less would end and in March. So we know that there are some point of considerations. Could be this year, could be next year. So I think that's the starting point. So we kind of test, are you open to look at this? And for me, I think it's an opportunity for myself, an opportunity of the lifetime. I have always dreamed of investing directly into True Corp. Once this opportunity arise, then it's just I really have to work on it and see whether it's possible.
Okay, my second question is about, just want to make sure that how you fund the transaction is it's going to be 100% debt, or it will be combination between debt and something else?
It's always have to be a combination, but certainly I think I prefer not to talk about how we construct the financing. I hope, and we have to respect that there are parties involved, in this case financial institution, etc. So I think I prefer not to talk about how I construct the financing, but Telenor have looked over it, is very, very concrete, and that's why we enter into this agreement.
Okay, my third question is about the lock-up for the initial transaction. Is there any lock-up periods for the Arise and for the first transaction?
Well, again, we don't want to disclose into details what we agree with Telenor, because the details have not been made public yet. But I think we can definitely say that Arise is here for the long run. We're not looking for short-term gain or trading gain.
Okay, my last question is about the medium term, because there's an option, for another 2 years, acquiring another 5%. So since it will trigger the tender offer, what's your plan?
I have to say that we have to look at all options. Whether we want to go for the tender at that point in time, or we reduce partly the shares, get ready for the options, or we find a parties that in very aligned with Arise to take up the shares. So there are many ways, including Telenor themselves at certain point in time could release the shares into the market. So I think there are many options, but all in the same interest is to see that the share price would uphold, the value of the company would continue to do better. So I don't think that Telenor wanted to do a fire sales, because now they see the upside as well as anybody. I have to say that many more institutions are contacting us, including investors, after the news, whether they have the chance to participate.
I have one follow-up question about the option. So the option does not specifically to Arise, because you mentioned that it can be another party that
There's some lock-up period between the two parties, but let's keep it as that first.
Okay.
But after that lock-up, then it's free. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Khun Kittisorn. Khun Youth, I believe you had a question. Khun Youth from UBS. Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I have one or two questions. So just want to be clear about the investment plan. So Arai has a few business ventures, and now is going to be a part of it, right? So when you do an investment, is there an opportunity where you could set up like the co-investment for all these entities? So basically, it's still about the capital allocation between all of these operators. We have seen one of your players setting up a JV and pulling up the capital from a few entities. So could we see a similar things for the two group? So that's my first question.
I again, I would not speak on behalf of CP Group or, in this particular case, one of the retail group. But it all stays in the interest of the business. It all stay within the industry, ongoing business, within the scope of the business. You would not see anything that's gonna go across. And for the big, the visible company, that could have been the case. I already mentioned that, like SN Money, like True IDCs, they have their own funding approach. They don't need True Corp to do the funding or co-invest. Only at the end of the day, all minority shareholders say, you should invest. then maybe we make it transparent to do so. But no plan to do such things. And they have their own stakeholders, they have their own debt profiles, and they have their own plan going to market. So you can rest assured that would not happen.
Okay, thank you very much. The other question is sort of related to the co-investment question. Is there any rules or laws that prevent the arise from monetizing the data at true level? If you set up a different entity, would there be any restriction preventing you from monetizing?
Yes.
Yes, on that one is very strict
Yeah.
privacy regulations. So that cannot be done on another company. That is true itself. That needs to stay within those regulations.
It's just by law.
Okay, thank you, Kunyut. Kunjin from KKPS.
Hi, thank you. I have two questions for Kun Supachai. The first one, like you mentioned, in the past 4 or 5 quarters, advanced top line growth has been stronger than True, right? And then there was a concern among investors that True may resort to the price war to regain the market share, but that did not happen. True continued to focus on profitability. Now, with the shareholder change, should we expect any shift in the focus from profitability to market share?
No. I think there should be enough evidence. I think we should have more of the management people here. But you can see that the policies from myself as a chairman, also from CP Group in the past 3 years, it's not to do that. It's just the market is saturated. We have invested so much, 4G, 5G, and now we have to do all this consolidation, and it's take more investment as well to do consolidation. So going into price war is not the case. We should go into how to retain customer. Okay. With good loyalty program, retentions, good innovation in terms of customer experience, I think that should be the way to grow the market sustainably, and to offer something new in collaboration with other tech providers, including hyperscalers. I think that should be the way for True Corp, not going into a price war. I think, as I mentioned, the market dynamic changed so much in the past 3 years, and we have been proving that we are not pressuring the management or Telenor Group or representative of Telenor Group to say, let's go into a price war. I think Kun Nukun can confirm that. Let's go into, now that we are stronger, let's try to create, aggressive growth, market share kind of policies. We never have that issues. And you have to say that majority of the management, is still True Group. So if there's such kind of policies, it will already reflect in 3 years, in the past 3 years.
The second question is on DC data center. True IDC invest in DC, Gulf and Advanced invest in DC. But in this case, my impression is that you do not compete against each other. You compete against hyperscaler, which is so much bigger. When I look at the investment that they plan to do in Thailand, is a real global firm with a whole lot of cash. How True IDC would compete against them over the mid to long term?
I think it's a misperception. The way True IDC is growing, I think, the Advanced Gulf also the same. That is to work with hyperscalers. Yes, because every 100 megawatt, it will require about $2 billion investment, and half of it would be the infrastructure to host the server. to host this supercomputer. So 2IDC would invest in the infrastructure for electricity, cooling system, waters, all the electricities, wiring work, system work, everything, including security for the data center. And then the hyperscaler would invest into the server itself, which only have 5 years kind of useful life, because technology change all the time. But the infrastructure sort of stay. So it is actually complementing than competing with the hyperscalers. And in fact, hyperscalers also try to balance themselves by partly build their own server and also partly utilize our servers. So to manage their own risk.
So they could become your customer, your
They become
partner
our
as well.
customer and partner. That's
Okay.
right.
ครับผม And the third question, the last question is for คุณ Sigway. During the past 3 years, you have managed to narrow or close EBITDA gap against Advance. But then when I look at the net debt to EBITDA ratio, even when I look at your target 3 times, it's still a big gap with Advance. And this is especially the case when their management said that they would ramp up capex to sales next year, to improve network quality, and we may have spectrum auction coming 2026 and 2027, and now you may have to pay higher dividend. Do you think that would be your disadvantage to Advance over the mid to long term?
Absolutely not. And let me just say what we have focused on the last 3 years. It's to take out the synergies between those two merged entities. So most of the capex last year, around 30 billion, has gone into building one single network coming from two. That one we are almost done with. Then we have also focused on other investments into the business to build that new company. And I'm very pleased with how that has been done. Now that we have lost some market share, as Khun Supachai said, and there is it's not strange that we did that, because the customer experience was not good enough in the midst of all this merger. But now that is behind us. So what we are going to focus on now is a continuous reduction of cost and to utilize the new technology to do so. And we call it AI first and cloud first. Everything that can be up in the cloud should be in the cloud. Our operations should, both IT and network, should be up in the cloud to make it smoother and more efficient. And the same with AI. Everything that you use AI on to take manual processes into automated processes should be done. So that's how we are going to reduce the cost. And I think we can do that at least as good as our competitors. The other part is then to return back to growth. And it's a little bit the question you had on market share. We are not going to aggressively take back the market share we lost to AIS, because the business model in this market is changing. There are now basically new customers out there, only rotating customers. And that's why you see our gross add is going down, because we are not aggressively fuel that rotating customer base anymore. Now it's much more about what I call base management, is to develop the relationship with the customers that you have. And that is where the growth is going to come from. And we have talked about that before on the consumer segment, do better on the home segment or the online segment, and also do better on the B2B segment. Then, so all this is behind the financial policy that I talked about. And I don't see anything that jeopardizing that. Then to the spectrum. The spectrum auction that we had back in July, August last year, I'm very, very pleased with. Because not only we secured our 2.3 spectrum, we actually get 10 megahertz more spectrum on the 2.3. In addition, to many surprise, we bought 1500 spectrum. That is now going to be implemented in our network, which gives us a speed advantage and a coverage advantage as well. And now we are also going to free up the 2.6 spectrum band, such that we can deliver much better speed both on 4G and 5G. And that's why we are saying that the capex to sales is coming down to 13-14%, significantly down from what it has been the last few years. So it's a combination of these things that I'm talking about. Then you are right. The AIS has a much lower debt level than we have. And the only thing we can do with that is to generate EBITDA growth good enough to both pay dividend and to pay down the debt. So the policy here is that we are not going to do either or. We are going to do both. And I think that's why I'm saying that the cash flow projections that you have in your balance sheet, I think we will deliver on that. Because that cash flow growth is good enough to actually do both. Pay down the debt to gradually reduce the gap to AIS, at the same time have a sustainable, progressive dividend policy.
Thank you, Kap.
Thank you, Khun Jean. Any further questions from the room? Yes, please, Khun Patipak from Bolong Securities.
Thank you for the opportunity. I have two questions. My first question is on about synergy. I asking Khun Supachai and Khun Sigve, as a shareholder of True and Alive, you as a CEO of True and Alive as well. First, what would be the synergy between True getting to the Alive in a short term, medium term, and long term?
I think you know that the first thing is to see that True perform better and give better yield and cash flows. And there are benchmark, very clear benchmark like AIS for us to do so. That's one of the very first thing that we wanted to add that measures and be there quicker. Okay. Second, when you say about the synergies, is at the end of the day, it's about people. Arise would consist of the expertise in AI. We just have one of the very top tech guy in AI joining Arise. We have top guys who are actually running the biggest data center in Thailand. And we have also a leading fintech company. So the resource in terms of talents and how we could see a possible perspective of how True Corp could also realize from those talents, as well as the synergy that could happen at the front of the customer. I think that would be second areas that we would try to enforce, and this is to enhance the competitiveness and the growth side of True Corp. Because I think apart from getting the cost down, we need to stay relevant to the market, what kind of values we can offer. And thirdly, I have to say that in the past years, I have accumulated a lot of networks with all the hyperscalers, be it the US or the Chinese ones. So hope that I can help make that collaboration even stronger. So that kind of partnership that could help enhance the True Corp. With my former CEO position, it's just so difficult. I'm in too many industry. I spend a lot of time, maybe 2 times to China and travel to the other part of the world. Agro food business, retail, e-commerce business and all that. But it's really give me a lot of knowledge as well. But now I'll be very focused on the digital economy business. So I think that we could actually help cement this kind of partnership to support True Corp.
Yeah, if I could just add some concrete examples to what Khun Supachai said. Because the telco business model going forward, it's very much about global partnerships and local partnerships. You cannot do everything yourself anymore, as we used to do the last 25 years. And to form those global partnerships, then you need some scale. You may remember that some month ago, we signed a strategic partnership deal with Microsoft That was both to buy some cloud consumption from them, but it was also for them to help us invest into different use cases on AI and upskilling. Expect us to form more partnerships like that with the American-based hyperscalers, but also the Chinese-based hyperscalers. So partnership and the scale of a RISE group here is one obvious synergy. Another one, of course, when we get the virtual license in Ascent Money, we can look at how can we add that as a value to all the true customers and the other way around. That's another synergy. A third synergy example is that we also can use cloud to upsell to our B2B customers. So these are examples of where 1.1 becomes more than 2, and those are the synergies we're going to look at.
My last question is on EBITDA that Khun Supachai just mentioned. EBITDA margin is going quite well over the past 2 years after amalgamation. And if you look at EBITDA margin, you just close to AS. But in terms of absolute number, like Khun Supachai said, you just 3.5 billion below AS. How can you improve 3.5 to match AS level? Because that is the upside that the price that Khun Supachai just bought from Telenor.
Well, first of all, we also have had targets on that. I think we have communicated targets that the EBITDA margin should be 68%, 67% by 27. I think we are going to meet that target before. So we have done very, very good on the EBITDA, but most of that coming from the cost reductions. Going forward, EBITDA has 3 components: revenues, and we are going to return to growth; OpEx, and we are really focusing on that, as Khun Supachai said, line by line; and then it's the gross margin, where you also have cost of goods sold. So all these 3 things we are now addressing. And our target, of course, is to have an EBITDA actual, not only the margin, similar to what our competitors have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Khun. Okay. The last question from Khun Supachai in the room, then we will move on to the online questions. Khun Supachai from Yonta Securities.
ครับขอเป็นภาษาไทยนะครับขออนุญาตนะครับ
ครับเชิญครับ
ก็อันที่1เลยถามคุณสุประชัยเลยครับว่า China Mobile หลังจากรู้เรื่องนี้เขารีแอคยังไงบ้างแล้วก็มีโอกาสไหมครับที่เราจะมีพาร์ทเนอร์อื่นนอกเข้ามาเพิ่มในระยะถัดไปอย่างเงี้ยครับครับ
ก็ โซฟาก็ยังไม่มีอะไรนอกจากแบบ congratulations หรืออะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะครับ ก็แต่ China Mobile เนี่ยถ้าพูดถึงว่าเขาก็มีนโยบายนะครับที่จะขยาย presence นอกประเทศจีนอันนี้ก็เป็นนโยบายของ China Mobile ซึ่งเขามี new management new board นะฮะผมว่าก็ต้องยอมรับว่ามีเทลโก้ในระดับโลกเหมือนกันที่เขาคงจะ from time to time นะครับถามเข้ามาอันนี้ผมก็ไม่อยากจะ disclose ชื่อนะครับเราไม่ได้ปิดนะฮะต้องพูดว่าเราไม่มีนโยบายที่จะปิดใครก็ตามที่มีความเชื่อใน True Corp แล้วเขา contribute ได้นะครับก็เป็นเรื่องที่เราก็ต้อง keep it open นะครับ
แต่ว่าก็ยังไม่อยู่ใน consideration เร็วๆนี้ถูกไหมครับ
ยังไม่มีฮะยังไม่มีครับ
อีกคำถามเดียวครับคือว่าเมื่อกี้ฟังคุณสุภชัยบอกว่าตื่นมาทุกเช้าแล้วก็คิดว่าทูจะขึ้น 2-3 เท่าได้ยังไงผมฟังแล้วก็อยากจะรู้ว่าในความคิดของพี่เนี่ยในใจพี่คือพี่คิดยังไงมันถึงจะไปได้2เท่าอะไรเงี้ยครับอยากจะให้เล่าให้ฟังหน่อยแค่นี้ครับขอบคุณครับคุณถามเป็นภาษาไทยขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับก็ผมก็ยังไม่ได้มีอะไรที่มันคอนกรีตชัดเจนขนาดนั้นแต่ว่าเราก็ดูเพื่อนเรานะครับเขาก็ไป1 trillion แล้วนะครับแต่แน่นอนแหละ True มันมี burden มากกว่าในแง่ของดอกเบี้ยอะไรต่อมีอะไรเนี่ยนะครับก็เป็นเรื่องที่เราต้องมองว่าเราเพิ่มมูลค่าอะไรแล้วก็จริงๆเวลาเราบอกว่าเราจะเพิ่มมูลค่าเนี่ยมันก็จะไปอยู่ในสิ่งที่ผมพูดเมื่อกี้เนี่ย IP intellectual property นะฮะ data นะครับ cloud service AI ซึ่งจะกลายเป็น new infrastructure มันเป็น landscape changing ทีนี้พอ landscape มันเปลี่ยนเนี่ยถามว่าแล้ว True จะเติบโตกับไอ้ S curve ตัวใหม่นี้ยังไงมันต้อง collaborate มันต้องมี partnership นะครับ มันก็จะขยับตัวเนี่ยเติบโตไปกับความเปลี่ยนแปลงนี้รวม partnership ในที่นี้ก็รวมไปถึงแม้กระทั่งภาครัฐนะครับเขาเองก็ต้องเปลี่ยนอันนี้มันก็ถามว่าอัตราเร่งของการเปลี่ยนแปลงเนี่ยจริงมันเร็วอยู่แล้วนะครับทุกองค์กรทุกหน่วยของภาครัฐมันอยู่ในอัตราเร่งอยู่แล้วที่จะไป cloud base เป็นต้นยกตัวอย่างนะครับแต่ว่ามีคนไป work ในเรื่องของ cost structure หรือยังนะครับคนไป work ในเรื่องของการที่จะทำให้มัน accessible หรือยังเพราะมันยังแพงมากๆเป็นเรทของต่างประเทศหมดผมยกตัวอย่างเรทที่สมมติว่า large conglomerate enjoy อยู่กับเรทที่ SME หรือแม้กระทั่งภาครัฐ they enjoy ก็คนละเรทกันนะฮะเป็นต้นนะแต่ถ้ามีคนไปโฟกัสในเรื่องของการที่จะดูว่าcost สำหรับ basic cloud service มันสามารถลงได้อีกไหมนะครับในขณะที่ยัง maintain good margin เนี่ยมันก็จะ benefit และทำให้อัตราเร่งของ conversion ของ industry แล้วก็เศรษฐกิจเนี่ยแล้วก็รัฐด้วยเนี่ยมันเร็วขึ้นนะครับอันนี้คงเป็นสิ่งที่เราคงพยายามเต็มที่เพื่อที่จะดูการเอาเรื่อง cost structure ลงซึ่งก็เป็นสิ่งที่เราทำมาใน20กว่าปีที่ผ่านมานะครับถ้าเราเห็นนะcost ของ fixed line cost ของ broadband แล้วก็ scale ของมันแล้วก็ cost ของมือถือต่อหน่วยเนี่ยมันลงตลอดนะครับอันนี้ก็เป็นสิ่งที่เราก็ต้องคิดว่ามันเป็น next step ที่เราต้องเข้าไป add value ตรงนี้มีส่วนร่วมในการเปลี่ยนแปลงนี้ทั้งนี้ก็ขึ้นอยู่กับหลายๆอย่างก็ขึ้นอยู่กับนโยบายรัฐด้วยนะครับเพราะเราเป็นโครงสร้างพื้นฐานนะสมมติถ้าเกิดนโยบายรัฐมีความการเร่งหรือเศรษฐกิจเรากลับมาถูกกระตุ้นกลับมาดีขึ้นถ้าเศรษฐกิจมันซอฟต์มันก็ช้าใช่ไหมแต่ถ้าเกิดเศรษฐกิจมันเกิดการเรากลายเป็นหนึ่งในดิจิทัลฮับเพราะว่า Data Center AI มันเกิดขึ้นในเมืองไทยเรากลายเป็นดิจิทัลฮับขึ้นมาแล้วก็ภาครัฐมี incentive ที่อย่างเรื่อง EV ที่ภาครัฐช่วยเลยมันก็จะ accelerate conversion ของระบบเศรษฐกิจเร็วขึ้นหรือนโยบายเช่นบอก Digital ID เอามา handle เรื่องสแปมหรือว่ามาจัดการกับเรื่องของ indirect economy พวกที่เป็น under bank under serve กลุ่มพวกนี้นะครับ cash base ตอนนี้ก็กระแสเงินสดก็สะพัด นะครับก็ผมว่าพวกเหล่านี้เป็นสิ่งที่ทำให้อัตราเร่งของการเปลี่ยนแปลงมันเร็วขึ้นซึ่งผมก็เชื่อว่าเราคงไม่ได้ทำคนเดียวคงมีผู้ประกอบการอื่นทำด้วยแต่มันจะไม่ใช่แค่เทลโก้2 รายเพราะว่ามันเป็นอีกแลนด์สเคปหนึ่งแต่เราก็ควรจะต้องเข้าไปอยู่ใน value chain ตรงนี้ให้ได้แล้วก็ทำให้มันเติบโตแล้วถ้าเกิดประเทศไทยเกิดเป็น regional hub ขึ้นมาการเติบโตของเทลโก้ในประเทศไทยเนี่ยมันจะไม่ได้เติบโตconstraint อยู่ในประเทศเท่านั้นเพราะว่าเวลาเราพูดถึงcloud หรือว่า AI เนี่ยมันไม่มี boundary มันอาจจะเป็น regional ได้แต่มันเป็น regional แบบตัวเบานะครับคำว่าตัวเบาเนี่ยผมจะเปรียบเทียบให้ฟังนะถ้าเกิดเราบอกว่าตัวหนักก็คือสมมุติเซเว่นมัคโครโลตัสเนี่ยตัวหนักเป็นค้าปลีกตัวหนักตัวเบาเนี่ยก็เป็นอย่างพวก Shopee Lazada นะครับ Amazon เนี่ยนี่ตัวเบาคือเขาเป็นแบบไม่มีขอบเขตนะครับก็ต้องคิดแบบนี้ว่าถ้าเราจะเป็นแบบตัวเบาทำยังไงนะครับจากตัวหนักไปแคปเจอร์โอกาสของตัวเบาทำยังไงอีโคซิสเต็มของเรามันจะช่วยให้เรา capitalize บนเรื่องนี้ได้มากน้อยแค่ไหนแต่ทั้งหมดมันก็จะเป็นเหมือน transformation จากนั้นที่เราพูดว่าตอนนี้เรารวมเป็น tech telco ใช่ไหมฮะคำว่า tech telco ก็คือว่าคุณเป็น digital native ไหมเอาจริงๆเนี่ย True เป็น digital native เพราะว่าเริ่มต้นก็คือข้อมูลมันอยู่ในคอมพิวเตอร์หมดเลยนะครับแต่มันยังไม่เป็น native จริงๆเพราะว่ามันไม่ได้ใช้ข้อมูลนั้นอย่างชาญฉลาดเต็มที่นะครับแล้วตอนนี้ก็ทุกคนก็ต้องบอกว่าคุณจะเป็น AI native หรือเปล่านะครับไอตัวมะลิของคุณเนี่ยซึ่งมันเป็นอวตารของ True เนี่ยมันจะเก่งแค่ไหนมันจะเก่งกว่านี้ไหมมันจะ assist คนได้มากกว่านี้ไหมอันนี้ก็เป็นสิ่งที่ท้าทายแต่มันก็ไม่ผมก็คิดว่าก็เป็นเรื่องที่เหมือนกับเราต้องมี lab ทดลองนะครับมี lab ทดลองแล้วก็ co-creation ก็คือร่วมกับกลุ่มอื่นรวมทั้ง hyperscalers ในการที่จะสร้าง lab ตัวนี้ขึ้นมาแล้วก็เข้าไปเพิ่มมูลค่าใน value chain ใหม่ที่กำลังเกิดขึ้น
Thank you, everyone. There are almost 90 people online, and I have a lot of questions. I'd like to move on to the online ones. The first one, Khun Supachai, this is for you. This is from Izadi from Macquarie. Will True transfer its fiber terrestrial assets and subsea cable assets to Arise?
No, there's no plan for Arise to do subsea cable or any kind of heavy infrastructure business. No transfer of any asset from True to Arise.
Thank you. Izati, I believe the second part of your question has been answered. I'm moving on to Khun Giaras. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Khun Supachai, could you clarify on the source of fund of this purchase, from equity or debt, and if there is any debt covenant? Would you feel the need to pledge True's shares as collateral for this financing?
I have to say that I prefer not to disclose the financing structure. I think it is still confidential and should stay confidential for Arise Group. But as I mentioned earlier, Telenor have looked through it and it's very concrete.
Thank you. I believe Khun Giaras and rest of your questions have already been answered here. Khun Virapat from CGSI has a question for Khun Sigve. How would True Corp attract middle management talent, especially from those who are secondee from Telenor?
Yeah, as I said, this transaction has nothing to do with the future management positions in True. And I expect all of them to continue. So there is nobody leaving this company because of this transaction. So I will retain the best talents. And this is an important part of what we do going forward also. Make sure we have the very best people in the company. And that's also why I have quite a number of nationalities in my management team. Because I want to make sure that we are taking the best knowledge from various markets and then deploying that into True. So that has been a policy and will be a policy, and nothing will change there.
Thank you, Khun Sigve. The rest of the questions have already been answered. So just one last time, any more questions from the room? No? Okay, then thank you, everyone. Thank you to those who are also online. Thank you for joining us today. A recording of this meeting will be available later today. Thank you.
Thank you, Khun Kan.